Tigers are 8-3 overall, 4-3 in the American Athletic Conference. Memphis was in action at Temple this past Saturday. Temple won the game 31-12. Up next for the Tigers will be this Saturday against SMU at Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium. The game will be a noon Eastern Time start and televised on ESPN News. Coach, thank you for joining us on the call today. If you would take a minute to tie up the game against Temple, and then tell us what you expect to see as you return for the final home game of the regular season against SMU, please.
Sure. Trying to bounce back after a tough road defeat. Temple played fantastic, particularly defensively, and deserved to get the victory. We've got another challenge ahead of us. We've got SMU coming into town, coming off a big win against Tulane. They're scoring points in bunches. Chad deserves a lot of credit for keeping those guys going. They're playing with a lot of confidence right now.
Take questions for Coach Fuente. Please star 1 on your telephone to join the queue. The operator will introduce you. Coach, let me start with the first one, if I may. If I just want to see if I can ask some of the coaches about the performance of the conference this year. Certainly, you've been a big part of that, both at the top and then also with the depth of the conference. 7 bowl-eligible teams, potentially as many as 9 this season. 3 and sometimes as many as 4 in the top 25. Can you just talk about the overall performance of the conference and its teams this season?
Yeah, it's been pretty good work, particularly in non-conference play. I think it's a credit to the coaches and administration for scheduling challenging non-conference opponents and meeting those challenges. That gained us plenty of momentum as we headed into kind of full-time conference play. And then now you're seeing it's tough to make it all the way through the league. I mean, you got to tip your hat to Navy and what they've done thus far. But it's just a pretty even league. There are a bunch of good football teams, good coaches, and good players. I think the quarterback play, just in general, has maybe been as good as I've seen and at this level in some time. I think that's helped some of the non-conference games, kind of giving some of those teams a little bit of an edge versus some other people because their quarterback play's been so good.
And we can take the next question, please.
We'll take our next question from Brian Moss with the TigerSportReport.com.
Hey, Coach. You lost 3 in a row. That's something that these players haven't experienced in a couple of years. How have they responded so far?
They've been good. I think they're disappointed, quite honestly, and I hope they are, and they should be. And it's been kind of a weird 3 games. We played 3 tough teams: Navy, at Houston, and at Temple, and came up really close in the Houston game, and the Temple game was really close for some time. We just couldn't find a way to get them done. But I like the way I'm confident they'll turn the page and get ready to play this week.
And after the game, a couple of players talked about how on offense how frustrating it was that they couldn't get anything together. Do you think that frustration led to a little bit of lack of focus?
I don't know if it was that. I just think Temple was playing really good defense, and we, for whatever reason, part of it's because of the way Temple was playing, and part of it's because of the way we were playing, weren't getting the job done. And they should be a little frustrated. I would expect much more out of our offensive group if we're supposed to be on offense a little bit older, more mature group, and we didn't get the job done. Our defense gave us a chance. It was a 2-point ball game in the fourth quarter, and we couldn't get anything going offensively.
And with this being the last game for the seniors, I believe in this senior group, your first recruiting class?
Well, with red shirts and all that sort of stuff, it's kind of interesting how they all work out. You know what I mean? But we recruited most of them. There's a couple of them that were here when we got here, and they've got a chance, if with one more victory, to have the winningest 2 years in the history of the school, and they've played a huge role, much like last year's class, and getting this thing back up to respectability and competitiveness, and I'm awfully proud of them.
Good deal. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
You bet.
We'll take our next question from Dave Matter with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
Hey, Coach. Barry Odom's name is going to come up for a lot of job openings around the country probably. Just in your, relationship and just your knowledge of him, how do you feel like he's ready for a step up, or what? How do you kind of view Barry in this situation?
A step up from coordinator to head coach, is that what you're asking?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely he's ready. He's as fine a football coach as I've been around. It's not if, it's just when he gets that opportunity, he's going to be very successful. And I know he's been preparing for it and training for it, and when that opportunity comes along, somebody's going to be very happy they hired him.
What do you think maybe the one or two best qualities about him that he'll be able to make that transition from being a coordinator to a head coach?
Oh, he's organized. He's meticulously organized, and he can make difficult decisions, and incredibly professional, and he can reach the kids. He can connect with them. So, I think one advantage that he's got over a lot of coaches, which I think is kind of a neat thing, I thought it was pretty fascinating when we hired him here as a defensive coordinator, is he spent time when he was working his way up as an ops guy, kind of behind the scenes for a little bit. And I think there's a little something to that, understanding kind of the inner workings of the way some things go. I think is kind of a nice addition. Obviously, he's a great defensive coach and motivator and all those sorts of things, but in addition to that, he's got a little bit of behind-the-scenes knowledge as well.
Thanks, Justin.
You bet.
Coach, we thank you for your time, not only for today, but also during the course of the season. Look forward to hearing from you again.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving.